This business has succeeded well, Sejanus, and quite removed all jealousy of practice against Agrippina and our nephews. Now, we must bethink us how to plant our engines for the other pair, Sabinus and Aruntius, and Gallus too, howe'er he flatter us, his heart we know.
Give it some respite, Caesar. Time shall mature and bring to perfect crown what we with so good vultures have begun. Sabinus shall be next.
Rather Aruntius.
By any means preserve him. His frank tongue being lent the reins will take away all thought of malice in your course against the rest. We must keep him to stalk with.
Dearest head, to thy most fortunate design I yield it.
Sir, I have been so long trained up in grace, first with your father, great Augustus, since with your most happy bounties so familiar, as I not sooner would commit my hopes or wishes to the gods than to your ears. Nor have I ever yet been covetous of over bright and dazzling honours, rather to watch and travail in great Caesar's safety with the most common soldier.
'Tis confessed.
The only gain, and which I count most fair of all my fortunes, is that mighty Caesar hath thought me worthy his alliance. Hence begin my hopes. I have heard Augustus, in the bestowing of his daughter, thought but even of gentlemen of Rome. If so, I know not how to hope so great a favour, but if a husband should be sought for Livia, and I be in mind as Caesar's friend, I would but use the glory of the kindred. It should not make me slothful or less caring for Caesar's estate. It were enough for me it did confirm and strengthen my weak house against the now unequal opposition of Agrippina. And for dear regard unto my children, this I wish myself, have no ambition farther than to end my days in service of so dear a master.
We cannot but commend thy piety, most loved Sejanus, in acknowledging those bounties which we faintly such remember. But to thy suit. The rest of mortal men in all their drifts and counsels pursue profit. Princes alone are of a different sort, directing their main actions still to fame. We therefore will take time to think and answer. For Livia, she can best herself resolve if she will marry after Drusus or continue in the family. Besides, she hath a mother and a grandam yet, whose nearer counsels she may guide her by. But I will simply deal. That enmity thou fearest in Agrippina would burn more if Livia's marriage should, as 'twere in parts, divide the imperial house. An emulation between the women might break forth, and discord ruin the sons and nephews on both hands. What if it cause some present difference? Thou art not safe, Sejanus, if thou prove it. Canst thou believe that Livia, first the wife to Caius Caesar, then my Drusus now, will be contented to grow old with thee, born but a private gentleman of Rome, and raise thee with her loss, if not her shame? Or say that I should wish it, canst thou think the Senate or the people who've seen her brother, father, and our ancestors in highest place of empire will endure it? The state thou holdst already is in talk, men murmur at thy greatness, and the nobles stick not in public to upbraid thy climbing above our father's favours, or thy scale, and dare accuse me from their hate to thee. Be wise, dear friend. We would not hide these things for friendship's dear respect, nor will we stand adverse to thine or Livia's designments. What we had purposed to thee in our thought, and with what near degrees of love to bind thee and make thee equal to us for the present, we will forbear to speak. Only thus much believe, our loved Sejanus, we not know that height in blood or honour which thy virtue and mind to us may not aspire with merit. And this we'll publish on all watched occasion, the Senate or the people shall present.
I am restored, and to my sense again, which I had lost in this so blinding suit. Caesar hath taught me better to refuse than I knew how to ask. How pleaseth Caesar to embrace my late advice for leaving Rome?
We are resolved.
Here are some motives more, which I have thought on since may more confirm.
Careful, Sejanus, we will straight peruse them. Go forward in our main design and prosper.
I those but take, I shall dull, heavy Caesar! Wouldst thou tell me thy favours were made crimes? And that my fortunes were esteemed thy faults? That thou, for me, were hated, and not think I would with winged haste prevent that change, when thou mightst win all to thyself again by forfeiture of me? Did those fond words fly swifter from thy lips than this my brain, this sparkling forge, created me an armour to encounter chance and thee? Well, read my charms, and may they lay that hold upon thy senses as thou hadst snuffed up hemlock, or turned down the juice of poppy or of mandrakes. Sleep, voluptuous Caesar, and security seize on thy stupid powers and leave them dead to public cares. Awake but to thy lusts, the strength of which makes thy libidinous soul itch to leave Rome. And I have thrust it on, with blaming of the city business, the multitude of sins, the confluence of suitors, then their importunities, the manifold distractions he must suffer, besides ill rumours, envies, and reproaches, all which a quiet and retired life, larded with ease and pleasure, did avoid, and yet, for any weighty and great affair, the fittest place to give the soundest counsels. By this shall I remove him both from thought and knowledge of his own most dear affairs. Draw all dispatches through my private hands, know his designments, and pursue mine own, make mine own strengths, by giving suits and places, conferring dignities and offices, and these that hate me now, wanting access to him, will make their envy none, or less. For when they see me arbiter of all, they must observe, or else with Caesar fall.
To marry Livia will no less, Sejanus, content thy aims, no lower object. Well, thou knowest how thou art wrought into our trust, woven in our design, and think'st we must now use thee whatsoe'er thy projects are. 'Tis true, but yet with caution and fit care.